So Dan, I know that you have been around a lot of famous people in your career, and you were sharing with me some of these fame and fortune stories of people that really thought they had everything, but really didn't. So can you share some of these things?
Absolutely. As a host on QVC for 29 years, I had the best gig, so to speak. I was the sports guy, I was the music guy, and I was the tool guy, even though I'm not all that handy, don't tell anyone. But you know, I interviewed every childhood hero I ever had in the world of sports. I got to launch albums for Willie Nelson and Hall & Oates and Michael McDonald, and I mean, I just went on, you know. And the list of athletes, every week I would have a different Hall of Famer on. And I really had the front row seat to see that a lot of these things that people think can make a person really happy, fame, fortune, adoration, really didn't. One of the profound things that happened to me was the first time I worked with Mickey Mantle was at his restaurant in New York in 1986.
Wow.
And I had done, or 1988, I had Billy Martin and Whitey Ford on as well.
Oh, wow.
And we were in a roped off area, and a father and a son with Yankee caps. The little boy had a ball, grabbed my arm and said, "Could you ask Mickey to sign this baseball?" Well, I was kind of naive. I said, "Sure." I went back. I asked Mickey if he'd sign it, and it was like the scene out of The Exorcist. His head started spinning. He called me every name in the book. I said, "Okay, Mickey, I'm sorry." I'm walking back thinking, "Oh, great, this is how I start with Mickey Mantle." And I told the father and the son that Mickey felt really bad because he was selling his autograph, and the memorabilia companies were here, so he couldn't sign for free, and he really apologized, you know, totally covered for him.
Yeah.
Well, I worked with Mickey probably 10 more times over the years, and 10 years later, he pulled a practical joke on me before the show and had the security guard called my dressing room and tell me that he was mad and he could only stay for 1 hour of the show. So I went in and I apologized. "Mickey, that's okay. I'm talking real fast. If I can only have an hour with you, I'll do the rest of the show by myself." Well, he starts laughing and he hits me on the shoulder and goes, "Oh, pard, I'm just kidding with you." And he looks at the security guard and they're laughing, and I'm thinking, he only pulls practical jokes on people he really likes. I wasn't even sure he liked me. And he only calls you partner if he considers you a friend.
Yeah.
He said, "Dan, I need to talk to you in private." Security guard left. We walked into a dressing room. He closed the door, turned around, and tears were running down his cheeks.
Wow.
I said, "Mickey, is everything okay?" And he said, "I owe you an apology, a sincere apology." I said, "You're Mickey Mantle. You don't owe me any apology." He goes, "I remember when you asked me to sign that baseball." I said, "You do?" Wow. And he said, "Do you know why I hated signing autographs?" I said, "No, why?" He said, "Because I have no self-esteem." He said, "So what, I could hit a baseball." He said, "I was an alcoholic, and I just learned that coming through Betty Ford, but I almost hated that people would worship me. And I thought if they really knew me, they wouldn't even like me." He had 2 sons that died before the age of 45 of kidney and liver problems due to their drinking. And of course, Mickey came out and he needed a kidney transplant. And you know, it was so surreal to me to think that this man who the world worshipped, he was a hero of mine, to think he had no self-esteem.
Yeah.
And really an eye-opener. Joe DiMaggio, you know, one of the greatest baseball players ever, he never knew the joy of giving.
Yeah.
He was always upset that the baseball players of today made so much more money than he did.
Wow.
He signed one contract for $100,000, which is back in 1950, and it was big money.
Yeah.
But you know, he was making a lot of money near the end of his life signing autographs for memorabilia, and yet it was never enough. And when he passed away, they found $600,000 in cash in plastic bags that they took out of his apartment, and he just you know, someone else would always pick up the check, or he'd sign a headshot to the restaurant owner knowing he wouldn't have to pay. Never did anything with his money. And you know, I feel like we have to flow. God gives us, blesses us. It has to flow through us to others. If not, we become a stagnant pond. So he was not a happy man. The great Joe DiMaggio.
That's so crazy. So what would you say to men today in hearing these stories, and they have kind of they're wrapped up in their things and trying to get these things? What would you say to them today?
Well, on your deathbed, I don't think you're going to wish that you had spent more time at the office trying to climb the corporate ladder. I don't think you'd worry about your fame or how much money you had in the bank or what car you drive. It's going to be about, what did I do with my life? Did I love my wife? Did I love my family? Wasn't I example? Did I love the Lord?
Yeah.
Am I a man of God? Boy, those are the things that are going to stand. The Bible says our works are going to burn if they're not in the right place, if we're not working for silver and gold and working for God's kingdom. One day we're all going to stand before Him and give an account of our actions. And we want to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. So think about that. Men, love your wives with everything you've got.
Yeah.
Be the husband God called you to be. Be the father to your children. Those are the things that matter.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Brian.
your heart and your words.
Oh, it's a pleasure to
And
be
heat
here.
and all those things. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Yeah.